As always, let's start the monthly reset with tidying up our environment, because we all know a clear space is a clear mind. And I just have to mention this one quote again because it helps me appreciate the constant need to clean. So here it goes. If life is a never-ending loop of dirty dishes and laundry, then that means life is a never-ending loop of home-cooked meals and comfy clean clothes. It's really in the little things that you can find reasons to be grateful, and housework, honestly, it needs to be done whether you enjoy it or not. And I feel like back in the day, women would do these chores together while talking, and it would be a whole activity of itself. And now we can just put on a show or a podcast or call a friend to keep us company. And since it has to be done anyway, try to find your way to learn to enjoy it. For me, I usually have something on in the background, but sometimes just silence works great too. For the month of October, I had one very silly daily non-negotiable. Every day I had to have at least one cup of tea. And it has unsurprisingly been the one habit that was the easiest to build. It's so simple, the act of making yourself some tea, but it has meant more to me than I expected. I feel like making tea is making time. Time for yourself, time for a book, a journal session, time for family, whatever it is. The tea itself has two great aspects. One, that it is just tasty, and two, that it keeps you company. When I still lived at home with my parents, my mom would always make tea in the evenings, and it kind of became a sign for me that it is time to wind down. So for November, I will keep it as a daily non-negotiable because it helps me make moments for myself. And sometimes tea bags have those questions on them, but if they don't, I still like to come up with just one question and answer it for myself. Good morning. It's the next day, and I'm currently going to do the kind of inner monthly reset where I really want to reassess my goals and reflect on how I've been doing in October and what I want to change for November. To be very honest, October has been kind of a busy month, but not necessarily busy on my goals. There has been a lot going on in my personal life, which I will not go into. Basically, I haven't been focused on my goals as much as I could have, but looking back at it, I don't mind it. Sometimes your attention needs to be elsewhere. So October hasn't been really that successful if you only look at it in terms of the goals that I set for myself, but I do feel like it was a good month just because I was able to put my time where I needed to put my time. One of the goals that I had was to really limit my screen time, specifically for social media. I had a maximum of 30 minutes for social media set out, and I used this app that blocks your social media once you have reached your time limit, and it really has been helping me so far. It even got to a point where currently I deleted Instagram from my phone just because I felt like it had more negative effects on me than positive effects on me, because I was continuously comparing myself, which is kind of something that is not really like me. I feel like I usually have kind of a balanced way of approaching social media where I get inspired, and yes, of course, you sometimes compare yourself, but more so in motivational way than it is like harming you. But I realized that I wasn't feeling good, specifically when I opened up, for example, Instagram in the morning, and after I was done with it, I just felt like why did I do that? It just kind of drained me. So I've deleted the app for now. I'm not going to say I'm deleting it forever because it has only been 3 days now, but I think it might benefit me to no longer have it, at least on my phone. The second goal that I had was to learn or memorize a new surah, and the surah that I chose is actually Surah al-Inshira. I think, if I pronounce that correctly. I actually managed to memorize this new surah, and it's really something I'm really proud of, just because it usually takes me a long time, like a long time before I memorize a new surah. But I managed to do it by listening to it like all the time, like on repeat, from a reciter that I specifically love listening to. For example, when I am on the subway, I listen to it, and then if I want to recite it with the reciter, I look at my phone, and then on the wallpaper of the phone I have the transliteration and then also the English translation. It really has helped me, because whenever I think, okay, what was it again, I can just easily look at my screen and remember it. It really has helped me with memorizing. So I did complete the goal of memorizing a new surah, and I would love to actually learn another surah for November. For me right now, it's a nice goal to try to memorize one surah a month, and usually I pick surahs that are quite short or like not too long, because it is of course easier to memorize, and I also like memorizing them just because you can easily use them during prayer as well. And there's something so beautiful about reciting a new surah, something new you memorized during prayer. So definitely for November, I want to add another surah on the memorization list. I already feel like I'm very excited to create a new list of all the adjusted goals that I have for November, but I do think it's very important to start with like reflection and also gratitude for the past month. So I think I'm going to do that first. I just got back from the workout class, and now I really want to fill in the presentation that I made for this 90-day challenge, specifically for November. So really decide like what are the goals that I want to focus on this month, and which daily non-negotiables as well as weekly non-negotiables will I set for myself. So a few of the goals that I have for this month are to finish one book. I actually had the same goal for the month of October, to just finish one book, to kind of get into the habit of reading again. And I actually finished 3 books instead of just one, and one of them being like this huge book. So it was really nice to overachieve on that goal, but I will again just put one book and then inshallah I can read more than just that one. I also want to write every day because I haven't really been writing as much, and I kind of noticed that it is affecting me in some sort of way, just because for some reason I tend to forget a lot, and not just like, oh, I forgot where my keys are. That also happens, but really like genuinely memories that are supposed to be valuable or like something you would remember, I tend to just forget those things. And sometimes I am in conversations with other people and they talk about the past and how much fun this thing was, or a specific memory that we share, and I genuinely cannot remember it. And one thing that I noticed for myself is that if I continuously write on a daily basis, I do remember. For example, from my childhood, the things that I remember clearly are the things that I've written down. So writing for me is not only kind of a way for me to get into a conversation with myself, which it also is, and I also kind of love that aspect of it, but it's also a way for me to remember. And I'm really kind of a sentimental girl in the sense that I cherish memories and holding on to them when something good happens or even when something negative happens. So I always kind of get sad when I forget things, and inshallah I can kind of help myself by writing on a daily basis to remember basically how I am living my life. That is one of my goals, which is also then a daily non-negotiable for me, to really write again. I think I will be doing the morning pages again, which is the routine where you write 3 pages in the morning, stream of conscious journaling. So you just journal everything that is on your mind in your journal for 3 pages before you do anything. And specifically why I want to do morning pages again is not even necessarily because I think it's like such a good idea. It probably is, but for me, honestly, I want to start a new journal for 2026. I always like to have a new journal for the new year because it's just a nice fresh start, and specifically also for Ramadan because it's kind of like also at the start of 2026. I currently have a lined journal and I noticed that I really don't like it that much. To me, it kind of feels constrictive to not have bullets instead of lines, but I do have a lot of pages left and I feel it's wasteful to just ignore this journal and start a new one when 2026 arrives. I'm going to try to finish this journal in these last 2 months so that I can start a new one. As you might see, there are quite a lot of pages left, so if I write 3 pages a day at minimum, I will achieve it, but if not, I will be stuck with this journal. That's also why I want to write on a daily basis. And like I said, I also want to memorize a new surah this month. I haven't decided which one just yet. I am still looking for one, so if you have any ideas for a surah that is not too long but also has beautiful tafsir, for example, I'm really interested to know about those. Or maybe I should spend the last 2 months to try and memorize Surah Mulk, because of course that is very beneficial to have memorized, but I'm not sure if I can do that. But that's my limiting beliefs talking to me, so I shouldn't really think like that, but I'm still kind of deciding on which surah I want to memorize next. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. For me, success at the end of November would look like having the habit of praying tahajjud. So it's very simple actually. I do have other kind of metrics of which I would consider my month to be successful, but mainly I put the habit of praying tahajjud just because I feel like it is something that comes from discipline, to have the daily habit of praying tahajjud, as well as kind of the urge that you have inside of you to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Both discipline and the urge to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are characteristics that I would love to have. And recently I have been having the thought where basically it says if you are not praying tahajjud, you don't want it bad enough. There are a few things that I really have been making dua for these days, and kind of to show myself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I feel like waking up to pray tahajjud is the way to go. I'm now going to create a list of daily non-negotiables specifically on my phone where I can easily check it off within kind of my home screen, and basically set the challenge for November. I think I will not focus as much on weekly non-negotiables. I've noticed that for the past month I haven't really looked or done my weekly non-negotiables just because I didn't really have a clear way of tracking it. So I wasn't really encouraged to do something like new habits on a weekly basis. I do have a few things listed down that I would love to do on a weekly basis, but it's not as much of a focus, I guess. The weather in the Netherlands is crazy. It is raining all the time and then it stops for maybe an hour or so and then it starts again. It really has been the fall weather you would expect from the Netherlands. I really wanted to go on a walk actually, but I think I will postpone it or just not do it at all. There actually is this woman in the Netherlands who kind of went viral because she goes on like a 6 kilometer walk every morning at like 6:30 and then posts about it. And just imagine like a 50-year-old woman who is like very cute and motivational, and her kind of motto is, I think it is geen zin, gewoon doen, something like that, which translates to not in the mood, just do it. And every time I look at one of her videos, which basically tells you to get outside and go for a walk because it's just so beneficial both for your body and mind, I get the urge to do it. And then something like this happens where it's raining and I never really do it, which is fully against what she's telling me to do. I don't know, man. Walking in the rain, I'm not sure. I don't think I want to do that. Okay, fine, I'm doing it. I felt kind of bullied into it because I was editing the video and just embarrassed by myself. So I guess we are going on a walk. It's also not even raining anymore, so I'm not really allowed to complain. And the earth in general, when it has rained, is just so beautiful. So let me just enjoy this walk. So I just finished with filling in my Google Calendar with everything that I have planned for November. It honestly didn't take that long because there's not much planned. But anyways, for now, I really want to create yet another wallpaper for my phone for the surah that I want to memorize next. So I'll start with, of course, finding one and then making a wallpaper. Of course, I do have to mention that if you decide to put anything from the Quran on your wallpaper on your phone, make sure to not use your phone in the bathroom. That is in itself a habit that maybe we should all kind of no longer do. But definitely if you have anything related to the Quran or Islam or with like words that have Allah in it, so make sure to not take that with you to the bathroom. So I am choosing Surah Al-Asr, and now that I am actually looking at the surah, my very first thought was, how have I not memorized a surah that is this short already? I immediately kind of started with this feeling of kind of shame or embarrassment about not having taken the effort to memorize this earlier. But I'm really trying to be kinder to myself when it comes to the Quran and specifically memorizing, because I mentioned this in the previous video. I really have this limiting belief that it's difficult for me to learn new surahs, even if it's short surahs like these. Also because I'm sharing this kind of publicly, I kind of felt this sense of, should I share this, just because it just feels a little bit embarrassing to share it just because it's such a short surah that I haven't yet memorized, and there are people out there who are doing complete memorization of the entire Quran. Yeah, so I do feel a little bit vulnerable sharing this, but I guess we all start somewhere, so I shouldn't feel ashamed about this. So here I am. I'm going to be memorizing Surah Al-Asr this November. And please say Allahumma barik. I'm going to make the wallpaper now. So I finished with the wallpaper, and I think I will finish this video here as well. I really hope you enjoyed this November reset. Let me know what your goals are for the month ahead and how the 90-day challenge is going for you. And I'll see you in the next video, inshallah.